PFL 2021, event number 3, Werdum versus Ferreira. What a wild card that we had. Upsets, knockouts, dominations, controversy. Great way to keep it kicking here with PFL. The action is always interesting. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And let's start it off talking about the first fight that we witnessed of the night. It was an absolute destruction as Magomed Umaletov stopped Kyran Bowen in just over a round. The first round was an absolute 10-8. Tons of top control from Umaletov. Dominated Kyran Bowen, who went for a few leg locks, but there was nothing doing there. Bowen unloaded massive ground and pound from the top position and really beat the brakes off of Kyran Bowen the whole first round. The second round starts, one shot, down goes Bowen. The fight is over. It looked like Bowen was pretty much finished after that first round anyways, and it could have been stopped in the corner. Minus 900 favored. Huge favorite. Late edition. Magomed Umaletov took on Kyran Bowen. Umaletov is somebody to watch around the world, and he definitely could be a potential alternate for the PFL regular season if something falls through. I think this kid is very good, and he has a bright future in MMA, and I'm really excited to see him grow throughout the sport. He's super good. He trains over at Eagles MMA. He fights out of Russia. This guy could be a future champion, if not definitely top contender, as he dismantled Dana White's Contender Series vet Kyran Bowen. Next fight of the night was not great action. We saw a kind of weird fight between Hanna, Kalinsnik, and Taylor Guardardo. Kalinsnik really gained a lot of weight, didn't look in great shape. You look at Guardardo, decent takedown, sloppy fight overall, but really bad performance for Kalinsnik, gouging the eyes. I mean, Taylor Guardardo did what she had to. Being an 0-1 fighter to beat a 5-2 fighter is very impressive. Her grappling game really sustained her here and got her the victory. I was impressed. She put on a good performance. Kalinsnik looked decent on the feet, but really couldn't defend the takedowns too well after that second round. And Guardardo did what she had to, earning a decision, and she is in this PFL tournament. I don't know exactly how the matchmaking is going to work, but this is definitely going to be a scary tournament for her with just 2 professional bouts, maybe having to fight someone like Kayla Harrison very soon. That could be trouble, and I'm not saying that she's a bad fighter, but not at the level of a Kayla Harrison just yet. Nor is anybody in PFL, but the beating that was put on Kayla's opponent just makes me fear for a lot of these other girls. For Kalinsnik, we'll see what's next. She's still here in PFL. Dennis Scottslov picked apart Modares. Darius took the fight on short notice. It looked like that. It was evident that he wasn't his best self, but granted, Scottslov would have beat him either way. Put on an absolute technical kickboxing display from the outside, destroying Modares from range, picking him apart and stopping him in the first round. Darius didn't look to be at the level, even near close to level of Dennis Scottslov, who last year, or rather in 2019, was the finalist, but did not win the tournament. Scottslov is an early pick to probably be a finalist once again, and maybe even a favorite to win the tournament. He put a beating on Modares, who really under-delivered. I mean, at the end of the day, it was kind of expected. He couldn't do much. He was totally outmatched, and it was evident as Dennis Scottslov dominated him. A TKO in the first round. Scottslov is now in a very interesting heavyweight tournament. I wouldn't hate an idea of the matchmaking between him and the winner of the main event, which we'll talk about a bit more as we get towards there. For Modares, we'll see what's next for him. But definitely rough performance and rough way to start this PFL regular season with a first round defeat. Next fight was Jenna Fabian and Larissa Sanchez. Fabian did exactly what she had to do, edging out Larissa Sanchez over the course of 3 rounds. From kickboxing range, she looked very good. Shades of Israel Adesanya. She does train with a very good team over in Auckland, New Zealand. Some of the city kickboxing folks. Larissa Sanchez, decent from the outside, but was really outmatched by the higher level kickboxer. And in the clinch, she was not physically as strong as Jenna Fabian. And Fabian dominated 3 rounds to 0. Pretty clear-cut performance for her there. Sanchez has potential. She's a young girl still as far as her MMA career goes. Just 2 fights. I am very fearful that you'd have to see Larissa Sanchez somehow fight a Kayla Harrison or some of these top-level girls. Even Fabian, she's not ready for that level, and it does scare me that this tournament has such a wide gap of skill set difference from the top to bottom, and they all are at a chance of fighting one another. Fabian will move on, and I do think she's good, but I don't necessarily think she's ready for a Kayla Harrison or even a Larissa Pacheco. The next fight of the night, Caitlyn Young and Cindy Dandoy's awkward fight here. Dandoy's with the ever weird boxing, just the weirdest boxing on the planet. Does everything technically wrong. but still was able to go 3 rounds against a good striker, Caitlyn Young, who's decent from the outside, controlled range, moved well. Dandois had a few throws, but nothing of note. Sometimes with those judo throws, it pulls you out of position. Somebody that can recognize that is then able to counter it and get back up to their feet, and that's what we saw from Caitlyn Young. She was able to win this fight. Decent striking performance. Definitely the last round was more of a toss-up. Dandois had some moments, but, or Dandois, as they say in French. I still feel that Caitlyn Young put on a decent display. She's now 12-10 as a pro. Good win for her. Tough loss for Dandois. Again, Caitlyn Young in the tournament. Maybe Fabian next. That's a more fair bout if you have to put her in there against somebody like Kayla Harris. And I'm just not looking forward to seeing some of these girls get really seriously beat on. We'll talk more about that as we get to the main event. We're flying through this undercard to get to one of the biggest upsets of the night. Bruno Capopulosa versus Ante Deely. 46 seconds. Ante Deely was everybody's hot prospect. He was a guy that a lot of people had a lot of faith in to possibly be a finalist in this tournament. He gets knocked out in 40 seconds. I don't think all is lost here. He got caught by a massive overhand, and Bruno Henrique Capopulosa unloaded a flurry of punches, and the ref stopped the fight. Tough loss for Capopulosa, excellent win. Or excuse me, tough loss for Deely. Excellent win for Capopulosa, who's going to skyrocket forward in this tournament. Lots of intriguing matchups in this tournament here in the heavyweight division. I'm so intrigued by the heavyweights here. You have Werdum at the top. You have Ferreira. You know, Deely losing here is tough for the stock, but I still think he's a player and legit. Dennis Scottslov. I'd like to see Henrique fight potentially against Scottslov next. That would be a crazy fight. I don't know exactly how they'll match up the opponents in the next round, but there's a lot of fun fights to be made. Larissa, Pacheco, Julia, Pageek, beating. Serious level difference. Pageek, young girl, 23, 3-0, got absolutely destroyed, dropped by one big punch, and then ground and pounded into a stoppage there. And we saw Larissa Pacheco prove why she is legit. She's the only girl to go the distance with Kayla Harrison. That's a feat in itself that deserves a lot of respect. I think Larissa Pacheco is very legit, and I think she's probably going to fight Kayla Harrison again and probably go the distance again, because this girl is very skilled, very tough, and has a very well-versed skill set. Good boxing. Dominant ground game. I mean, what's not to like about Larissa Pacheco? Julia Pageek probably fights maybe like a Laura Sanchez next, but I don't know, again, how PFL is going to do the matchmaking. If it was me, maybe I'd put her against Sanchez, but she might have to fight somebody that's pretty skilled in the next time out, and that could be a brutal loss. There could be some serious mismatches in this women's tournament for Bellator, or excuse me, for PFL. There could be some serious mismatches. Brandon Sales knocks out Mohamed Uzman in another big upset of the night. One that was not as surprising. Sales was a monster of a human being, gets the submission win, puts Uzman to sleep. The brother of Kamaru is not at that same level as his brother, but he's still a good fighter he's still a developing fighter that's a potential to become good. Brandon Sales, technically sound. He's a man of war. He legitimately is. Military veteran, absolute monster. He trains martial arts as a lifestyle. He's now making a run at it, a final run at 40 years of age. Does he win this tournament? I don't know about that, but he has an opportunity to become a fan favorite. At least for me, he's become one of my favorites, and I'm super excited to see what's next for him. Ate some huge shots from Uzman, beat up Uzman's legs, was able to crack Uzman with some counter hooks, put him down, dominate from the top, dropped Uzman twice, and he was not dropped once. Sales was cracked with some big punches, but not put down, and then he gets the submission. I am very impressed by Brandon Sales. He's a legit guy, and I think the guy has potential to be real. I mean, he's 40 years of age, so it's now or never, but I think that he's a fun addition to this tournament, and he may surprise us again in this next matchup. Don't know who it'll be against, but could be somebody notable and could get a big win. Uzman will look to bounce back in the next couple months here. It's going to be serious. It's a strong test for him to bounce back after a brutal loss like this, but I believe he will. His brother is a champion. He has the right people around him, and I still believe Mohamed Uzman has the potential to develop a decent skill set, but he needs time to improve. 7-2 as a pro, is 32 years of age, but granted, it's heavyweight. Brandon Sales is 40 and looked fantastic against Uzman. I think Uzman still has potential, but Sales was the man and dominated him. Excellent performance for Brandon Sales there. Next fight of the night was the co-main event where Kayla Harrison beat a hole in the face of Mariana Moraes. bad performance for Mariana. I mean, Kayla Harrison took her down and beat the hell out of her. I expected a lot more from her. I mean, this girl at least has gone the distance a couple times with some notable names. I thought maybe she would last into at least 2.5 minutes. No, doesn't make it a minute 30. A minute 23 was the stoppage. Brutal ground and pound, dominant top position. Kayla Harrison is a problem. Claims she's the baddest woman on the planet. I don't know if she can claim that just yet, but she's definitely well on her way to being there. And I do think that she has a sky's the limit type potential. I think she's going to win the $1 million in this tournament. What's next for her after that? Maybe Bellator, maybe UFC. We will find out. But I would love to see this girl fight some of the best fighters on the planet. And she hasn't had that level of competition just yet. But excellent performance against Mariana Moraes here. Kayla Harrison is the real deal. Dominant grappling and ground and pound. A minute 23 seconds. No problem. Next fight. Renan Ferreira and Fabricio Werdum. Controversy, but also not controversy, as the fact that Renan Ferreira was really doing good with his ground and pound as Werdum had him in a submission. The fight starts off crazy. They both jump at each other. Werdum is able to secure a takedown, get on top of Renan Ferreira. Excellent defensive grappling by Ferreira. I'm very impressed. Wasn't able to get off any offense himself from his back position, but eventually was able to get in Verdum's guard. Werdum throws up a triangle. It seems to be locked in. Sales looks like maybe he does a light double tap. Werdum claims he let up, and then Ferreira's unloading vicious ground and pound like he had been doing that whole time. Hurts Werdum, gets out of the triangle, starts unloading some more ground and pound. Werdum turns, folds to his stomach, ground and pound some more, and the ref has to stop the fight. Very tricky situation for the referee. Did he tap? Yes. But did he necessarily mean to tap? Maybe not. Is it understandable that they did not stop the fight even though he may have tapped? It is understandable. Tricky situation to be in for the PFL, but Renan Ferreira is definitely a problem and a legitimate prospect no matter what the outcome here against Werdum. If they do overturn it to a no contest, he came up huge as an underdog. If you threw some money down on him for the knockout prop, which I thought was a good one because I thought it was possible, he absolutely delivered. Werdum, excellent Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as always. We will see what's next for him. Weird situation to be in after a loss, but I still think he's a player in this tournament. I don't know exactly the matchups that will be next. I mean, we can look at some of the winners, and we also do have Ali Isaev, who's also going to be in the tournament, as well as Hatef Moel. Goltsov is an early front runner in my opinion right now. I do think there's going to be some fun fights with Capopulosa. I think Brandon Sales is a fun guy. Renan Ferreira, maybe if you're matching up the winners against one another, I don't necessarily think they do it. If I'm matching them up though, I'm going to go Ferreira with maybe Capopulosa. We go Sales with Goltsov. And then maybe with the losers, you go Werdum taking on Modares, maybe. That could be a potential matchup. I really don't know which direction they're going to go. Ante Deely versus Muhammad Uzman. I don't know if that's necessarily a fair fight for Uzman. I guess we'll see. We're going to find out as time moves on with this Bellator tournament and we get into the actual playoff rounds. Right now, it's still the regular season. Let's see who starts out in front. Definitely might see some rematches. It's not over for the losers just yet. A lot of good females, a lot of good heavyweight men. Some awkward fights. I mean, Taylor Guardardo only has 2 pro bouts. Same with Sanchez. Fabian only 4, and then you have a Kayla Harrison at the top 9-0, 16-11 Marina Moraes, 16-6 Dandois, 12-10 Young. Some serious differences in experience. You have a 3-1 Julia Pageek and a 14-4 Larissa Pacheco. Like Pageek should be fighting against girls like Laura Sanchez. Fabian should probably still be fighting against girls at that level. I mean, you could maybe do Fabian versus Caitlyn Young next. I'd be intrigued by that. I don't know really where they're gonna go. I don't know what the matchmaking in PFL is gonna be like. But overall, it was a very good card, and I had a great time covering it. We did a full live stream for it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as well. Make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We're covering all things MMA over here at MMA Experts. Also, follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And I will see you all in the next video.